Today we are going to learn about matrix multiplication. I'm going to start out writing my equation. The first thing you need to refer to is the rows and the columns to see if you can multiply. If they are not the same, it is undefined. In this case, ours are the same, so it works. And then you're going to write row times column. That's your row, and that's your column. You're going to look at the beginning number for row times column. So we have is -6 times 5 plus -6 times 3. Alright. And then you're going to do the same with the rows, but second column now. So you're going to write out -6 times 6 plus -6 times 1. It is very important not to forget the plus signs. And then the same thing with the third row, or third column, sorry. Alright, -6 times -5 plus -6 times -5. And then you're going to type them in the calculator. So the first one we get is -48. For the second one we wrote is -42. That's what we got. The third one we will get is 60. And that's your answer. You're done with this equation. In this lesson, I am going to show you how to show your work and type it in the calculator. To get started, we're going to click Menu, make sure it's on Run Mat, and then you're going to click F3, right arrow, check your dimension. Mine is 1/2, so I typed it in. You're going to click Enter, and I already have my matrix ready. And then you're going to click Exit, down arrow, and then you're going to type in the dimensions for the second matrix. I already have mine ready in hand. And then you're going to click Exit, Shift to Alpha, XOT, and then again Shift to Alpha, Log, and then you should get Mat A, Mat B. And that's your original formula. When you have that, you can click Enter. And then your answer should show up 3 matrices. So what you get is -48, -42, and 60. And then 60. And that is your final answer. For this lesson, we are starting matrix inverse. I'm going to start out writing my equation and then letter them A, B, C, and D. And you can always refer back to the formula that I wrote. I'm going to start out writing my formula and then put parentheses, and you cannot forget the minus. I'm going to letter them under A, D, B, and C. And looking to your left, you're just going to cross multiply. So A is 5, D is 5, B is -9, C is 4. And when you're done, you're going to type it in a calculator and you get 1/61. And then I'm going to write down the formula so it's easy for you to refer to. You're going to follow that formula and write down on the side. So for D, I got is 5. For B, I distribute the negative. And for C is the same. A is 5. And then you can erase the formula you wrote onto the side earlier. Then you're going to multiply 1/61 to every number inside the matrix in order. You have 1/61 times 5 is 5/61. And then 9/61, 1/61 times 4 is negative 4 over 61. And again, 1 over 61 times 5 is you get 5 over 61 again. And that's all for this lesson. You're done with this lesson. We are going to use a calculator to check your answer using the following steps for matrix inverse. I have my matrix already, so you make sure your calculator is on Run Math. You're going to click F3, right arrow, check your dimension, mine is 2 by 2. And then click Enter. And then I already have my matrix ready. I typed that in already. And then you're going to click exit 2 times. Shift 2, alpha, and then XLT, shift, parentheses, and your screen should match my screen. And then enter, and you should get your answer onto the right. I'm going to write it down. So what we got is 5 over 61. 9 over 61 and negative 4 over 61 and then 5 over 61. That should be your answer for your inverse. Alright, this is 8.3. This lesson looks like 8.2 at first. I'm going to write down my problem, and I'm going to label the numbers with the letters. So A, B, C, and D. And then onto my right side, I'm going to set up the formula to solve the problem. Alright. And then on the bottom, I'm going to label my parentheses. And then we are going to cross multiply the numbers on the left and match the letters under the parentheses. So D will be negative 2, C will be 6, along with B will be Y. When you're done with that, you can erase it. And then moving along the bottom, I'm going to write my determinant. And now you're going to multiply 2 times negative 2, and we get negative 4x. And now don't forget to add your minus in the middle of your multiplication. And you're going to repeat the same thing on the right side like you did with the left. And notice how in this problem there is no like term, so that is your final answer. Here we have our matrices ready. I am going to show you how to type it in a calculator. To start, make sure your calculator is on Run Math at all times. You're going to click F3, right arrow, and then type your dimensions in. So 2 by 2. And then type your matrices. I have mine ready to go, as you can see there. And then you're going to click Enter, and then exit. After that, you're going to click Option, F2, F3, Shift 2, Alpha, XOT, and then you should get mat A, and then click Enter, and your answer should be negative 16. And that would be your answer and how to check your work too. In this video, we'll be learning about area using determinant. First step is I am going to write down my coordinates. Under the numbers, I'm going to label x1 and y1. The next one will be x2, y2. The third one will be x3 and y3. Then you're going to plot those down onto a graphing paper. I already have mine plotted down and ready to go. Next up, you are going to use this area formula to find the determinant on the next step. So you're done with that. Next step, we are going to write down our vertex or coordinates onto the side. You are going to add the ones using the formula provided in the previous step. So now you are done with that one. Moving forward, I am going to rewrite my area and type the matrix using 8.4 calculator steps, which is the determinant steps for calculator. So let me get my calculator. Alright. First, check your calculator, see if it's on Run Math. Then you're going to click on F3, right arrow. Then type in your dimension, so 3 by 3. In this case, I already have my matrix ready to go. You're going to type X to exit 2 times. Then Option F2, F3, Shift 2, Alpha, XOT. Make sure it's on Det Mat A. Then click Enter and you should get -31. Down here, you're going to put -31 for the dimension. Don't forget they always have to stay positive. Next, you're going to type that area in the calculator. So I have my calculator in hand. You're going to type that in the calculator. So 1.5 times +31 equals, so what you get is 31 over 2, which is 15.5. And that is your answer, 15.5 unit squared. Don't forget the squared. That's very important for this lesson. And that's all. That's your answer. This is another example of finding area using determinant. I'm going to write down my coordinates or points and label them x1, y1, x2, y2, so we are not confused later on. When you're done with that, with your coordinates, you need to plot your points onto a graphing paper. I already have mine ready on a graphing paper so we don't waste time. Next, I am going to write down my formula to solve for my area. So area equals 1.5, and then DET. And then onto my right, we're going to write down the coordinates. Don't forget to add the ones onto your right. So -1, 7, and then a 1, 8, 3, and a 1. And that will be your matrix to find the area. Then moving on to the bottom, I am going to rewrite my formula like the top and type my matrix in the calculator to find the determinant. So you need to get your calculator ready. I already have mine ready onto my side. Make sure your calculator is on Run Math. Then click F3, right arrow, make sure your dimension's correct. Then I'm going to write down my matrices that I wrote down. So 7, 1, 8, 3, and a 1. You're going to click Enter, and then exit. Then Option F2, F3, Shift 2, Alpha, XOT, and then you're going to get Det Mat A. Click Enter, and then you're going to write that -29 on the parentheses, and then you're going to type that whole thing, 1.5 times +29, into the calculator. Make sure it's +29. They always have to stay positive. So you're going to type 1.5 times +29 and then enter, so you get 14.5. We want decimal numbers. And your answer is 14.5 units squared. We cannot forget the squared. And you're done for this lesson.